Welcome to the Explainer. So, today we're going to talk about a piece of advice that, honestly, might be holding you back. We're going to dive into why having tons of different interests isn't some kind of flaw, but actually a massive advantage in the world we live in right now.
All right, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? Like 1 minute you're deep diving into a Python tutorial, and the next you're obsessed with learning how to bake the perfect sourdough. And then, by the end of the week, you're just binge watching documentaries on ancient Rome. It's awesome, right? But it can also feel, I don't know, a little scattered. Kind of like you're not making real progress anywhere.
Yeah, and that feeling, it gets cranked up to 11 by this one really old saying. You've heard it a million times. For centuries, it's been this warning, right? That if you spread yourself too thin, you're just going to be mediocre. It's a really powerful idea, and it's been quietly shaping how we think about our careers, even how we feel about ourselves.
So, let's really unpack this. We're going to start with what I call the jack of all trades problem and start to question this whole myth that specialization is the only way to go. I mean, just think about it for a second. Our whole education system, the corporate ladder, for decades it was all built to create and reward one type of person, the hyper-specialist. The one person who knows more about one tiny little thing than anyone else on the planet. That was the gold standard, the ticket to a successful, stable career. And when you're swimming in that culture, it's so easy to look at your own kind of winding path and think, am I doing this wrong? You see your friends becoming these deep experts in their one specific field, and that pressure just builds and builds. You start to feel unfocused, or even worse, like you're totally falling behind in some big race to the top. Okay, but what if I told you that that weakness, that feeling of being scattered, is actually a set of cognitive superpowers in disguise? Let's completely reframe this. Let's look at how those interests are really your greatest strength.
Okay, superpower number one, associative thinking. This is where the magic happens. It's that moment when, I don't know, your background in music theory suddenly helps you see a new pattern in the stock market, or your weekend gardening hobby sparks an incredible idea for a new piece of software. You are literally connecting dots that other people don't even know are on the same page. And that is the real engine of innovation. And then there's your second superpower, cognitive flexibility. Look, we live in a world where entire industries can get turned upside down like overnight because of some new tech. The specialist who only knows how to use one tool, one hammer, can get left in the dust. But you've got this whole diverse toolkit of skills and knowledge. You're basically built to adapt. You can pivot, you can learn new things fast, and you can apply your brain to whatever new challenge the world throws at you. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because those superpowers aren't just nice to have. They are becoming absolutely essential. We are moving away from the old, rigid models of work and heading straight into something way more dynamic. Welcome to the M-shaped future, where it's all about hybrid skills. So what does that even mean? Well, it's a huge shift. The past, right? That was all about the I-shaped worker. Think of the letter I, one deep line of expertise, a single pillar. But the future, that belongs to the M-shaped hybrid. Picture the letter M. You've got multiple peaks of expertise, maybe 2 or 3 areas where you're really good, and they're all connected by a solid foundation of other skills like great communication or critical thinking. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's happening because the world is changing. First, job markets are just unstable. A single deep skill can become obsolete, just like that. But if you have a flexible set of skills, you can pivot and thrive. Second, think about where the coolest innovations are coming from. Things like bioinformatics, right? That's biology plus computer science. It's not one field, it's the fusion of two. And finally, to solve the really big, messy problems like climate change, you absolutely need people who can connect the dots between the science, the economics, and the human psychology of it all. So if you want to thrive in this new world, it really comes down to a fundamental mindset shift. You have to stop trying to squish your amazing M-shaped self into a tiny I-shaped hole. It's time to start thinking like a nonlinear. Let's just be crystal clear about this. That feeling of being all over the place, it is not a character flaw. It's time to throw that label right in the trash. You are not scattered. Instead, you are a non-linear thinker. Of course your path isn't a straight line. You're not built for simple A to B problems. What you're actually doing is building this rich, interconnected web of knowledge. And that's not random. It is a deliberate and incredibly powerful way of seeing the world. And here is the best part, the payoff. All those different interests, all those little pivots you made,
All that time you worried you were falling behind? Guess what? You were actually getting a head start. The whole time you've been building yourself into the exact kind of M-shaped person that the future needs most. You are perfectly designed for what's coming next.
So let's just recap the big ideas here. First, your broad range of interests, that's a huge strength, not a weakness. Second, you have these incredible superpowers, associative thinking and cognitive flexibility, and they are in super high demand. And third, it's time to own it. Embrace your identity as a nonlinear thinker, because you're the one who's truly built for the future.
So I'm going to leave you with a challenge, something you can do today. Just take a look at all your different interests, everything you're curious about right now, and just ask yourself, what two things that seem totally unrelated could I connect today? Go ahead and try it, because that's exactly where your next big idea is hiding.